Hello everyone, Saturday Night Drams, live from the Black Lodge as usual. I'm David at Drinks Whisky. I hope you're keeping well. Managing to just slowly tweak it a wee bit, the production value. So hopefully you enjoyed that intro if you've not seen it before. If you have, then you're going to have to get used to it, because that's the new one. We are coming into a bit of whiskey season, and there's quite a lot of events happening, and I know that Limburg's happening in Germany this weekend, I believe, and so I don't know how busy we'll be in here tonight. Normally, I know there's quite a few people who would normally tune in who are over there. I wasn't sure if I was going to be live this week. We had some family news, and my wife's grandmother sadly passed away, so we weren't sure about how that would affect this week, but I'm here, we're doing it. We'll have a hard cut-off of midnight tonight. It has been a long week, but I was looking forward to coming on and seeing everyone on here. Let me see, we've got, where are the comments coming up? There we go. I can see this. Alan, lovely to have you in, hope you're doing well. Move that about, bit of housekeeping to do and make sure we can see everything we're supposed to see, and that you guys can see as well. There we go. Alan, how you doing? What's in your glass? Let us know. I've just poured myself a can of Guinness, and it really annoys me that you just don't get pint cans, because they give you the glass and the glass isn't big enough for the actual, you know, like, come on man, basics. Thanks, Tony. It wasn't mother-in-law, sorry. It was my wife's grandmother. She had good innings. She had a really good innings. She was in her 90s. But it's never nice. It's never a nice thing to go through. However, onwards and upwards. It's been, the weather down here, down south, has started to tip into really nice weather. I don't know how it is where you guys are. We're about to hit a week of like 24s, 25s. So that's been exciting. So we're in the garden all day with the little one. Went swimming this morning and then out in the garden all day. So it's been a lovely day. And it's nice coming down here to do these, and it's still kind of light as I'm coming down. And there'll be nights that'll be starting and it'll still be light. So onwards and upwards, all good. Jeffrey, fantastic. Great to have you. Great to have you in. Alan's got Aussie and Glass Coastal Stone. Still giving it to a friend, giving it one last spin. Alright, I'm not sure of that one. I don't think I've heard of that at all. We have, let me see if this will work. Is that going to work? There we go. Here's the dram selection for this evening. Some new arrivals. I'm going to kick off with an SRV5. It's been a while since I've had the SRV5, and you can see I've not really had much out that bottle at all. This is batch 13, I believe. I checked the back. If you look under the QR code in the back, it gives you the batch variation. I don't know if I'm going to open this one, but my two Easter bargains arrived, which were the Octomore, and this is a 14.1, and the Isla Barley 2014. And these were, there was a code that went around last week, and it turned out it was for friends and family. And I said on the stream as well, I was like, well, friends and family, we're all friends and family, prick laddie. And I got the, oh God, what's going on? Is that because my hand moved? I don't know why it's focusing. Why is the camera focusing on Graham Souness? Here we go. See, technology, man, you can't trust that. So these were 50% off. So I got an Octomore for under 90 quid. And I got the Isla Bali for 35 quid, which is just unbelievable. Then I didn't pick up the Jack Daniels 10 that came out. And I was humming and hawing about it, and I never did it, and it's too late, and I can live with the regret. But I have this that a good friend of mine brought me back from Jack Daniels, visited the distillery last year, and brought me this back. I've never opened it, because it's just been sitting in the cupboard, and it comes with a really, it's a wee metal tag. And he bought it from the distillery, so I'm going to crack that open and just see what it's like. I'm going to have the Old Forester 1920, just because it's a fucking absolute banging dram, and it's readily available in the States. Not so much here, but it came back to my radar because one of the good guys in the Whisky Exchange at London Bridge had messaged me and said, oh, he's got family going to the States, is there any bottles they should try and pick up? But they're not going anywhere that's going to have a spectacular selection. And I said, if you want a banger, get that. And he loves it, because of course it's just a cracking bourbon. So that's the selection this evening. That's where we're going. So we're going to start here as the first dram. However, we do have Guinness in the glass, just the one. I had some leaving drinks this week. My boss left the company, and as a farewell gift, I got him he's not a big whiskey guy at all. Gin and stuff, yeah, but just not a whiskey drinker. And anytime I've done charity tastings of that, he's never been able to make them. So I've never really got the chance to work out where we would take him on a whiskey journey. And I went in the Whisky Exchange yesterday, and I was looking, and there was some cracking bottles. There was a great Craig Ellicky Signatory that looked fantastic. They had the Ben Nevis 5-year-old of that range. They had a couple of Boonas. And I'm looking at them, and I'm going, oh, I don't know if these are a bit too much for him. So I settled on going for the Old Faithful, the Compass Box Orchid House. Because I'm like, you can't go wrong with that. Everybody likes apples. Do you know what I mean? And you can mix it. If he mixes it with lemonade or soda because he doesn't like it, that's no big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. At least he's getting trying it. Just catch up on the things. More than welcome, Jeffrey. More than welcome. Drinking that sweet Lismore again. Alan saying the camera like Locklear. Yeah, obviously. Gotta try to zoom in. Hijacked by the Locklear social team. All change at Locklear at the moment. I've noticed a couple of people have moved on, obviously. Mr. Campbell's gone. But I noticed that a couple of the marketing team have left. One's went to Macallan. Purely know this through social, through Instagram, not personally. But it will be interesting to see what direction they're going. And there's been a couple of those things, like I think McNean's changed a little bit behind the scenes as well, from what I read. Could be completely wrong. And I think the whiskey industry is just, we're in that weird space it's in at the moment where people are maybe seeking new opportunities and stuff. Tony, I've seen nothing either. It was only when I saw a couple of Instagram posts from people going, and I think then we posted yesterday, so the Limburg stuff, they'll all be having a whale of a time. So jealous. So jealous. But, you know, we're here. You know what they're doing? They're in Germany. Tough life. Evening, Adrian. Great to have you in. And you're kicking off with the Midgie first. Good choice. Good one. I've not picked up a bottle of the Midgie. I really want to. I don't know if it's just because I've seen it about. It's just not. It's been almost front of mind, then pushed to the back, and I've just been like, oh, I'll get it later. And then I always end up regretting it because I end up not being able to get them. Alan saying he does fancy Limburg one year. Yeah, I do as well. I really do, and I can see that Tony agrees. I think it's one of those ones, isn't it? It's going to be like Glasgow, where it is a proper. What's the best way? It's like a geek convention. It's whiskey geeks, isn't it? It's for us, by us type vibe. That some shows don't really skirt, but I think that one, from everything I've heard about it, is fantastic. And Pete Head, who's normally in the comments, Frank, I know he'll be there. He's there. He'll be having a whale of a time. And if there's the shows he picks, you get the rough vibe that these are the proper drinking shows. These are the ones for us. And It just always kind of surprises me. It always just kind of pops up. I always find out about it like 4 weeks before it's happening. So I need to kind of sort that out from a whiskey calendar point of view. Let's see what else we've got. What's happening there? Yeah, driving around to Limburg. You know, if we legitimise it, then we have to do it, don't we? If there's a reason, an actual excuse to go. Thank goodness it's going down too easy, and it's the only one I have. So I'm going to pop open a dram. We're going to get into the drams. Not too early, but as I was saying, I had to leave and do my boss yesterday, so a tiny bit hoarse. Tiny bit hoarse. It was a late night, which I don't have many of these days. Thankfully, no karaoke. If you joined me a few weeks ago when I sounded like Barry White, talking. Evening, Mark. Great to have you in. Thanks for joining. Jeffrey's off. Going to Scotch Socket in a nearby shop. Get us on the phone, mate. Update us. We can maybe choose. We can choose you a dram. Don't worry, Alan. I'll forgive you. I know that's what you meant. Let's get the ASMR on the go. Not as good a pop as I hoped. Let's go again. There we go. I'm using the black Glencairn, and genuinely it's like a black hole. You can't even see in it. It's quite frustrating. You don't know how much you've poured, but so if I have to top up, so be it. Marcos, great to have you in, mate. Great to have you in. If you've just joined, I was just saying that it was a last minute decision to go live because we got some bad news this week. Me and you'd been chatting about it earlier in the week, so I wasn't too sure. But Marcos has offered up, having watched last week, to join Saturday Night Drams very soon. So for that one, I want to make sure it's worth his time. You know, to get him on, we want to make sure we get the most out of him as well. So we'll do a wee bit more. There'll be a structure. Believe it or not, I can make structures to these streams. There'll be a wee bit of structure so we maximise his time. Anybody that doesn't know, Marcus is in the chat. Brand ambassador for North Star. I nearly put the North Star Kalila on here. It's right there. It's right there. So maybe get a pour of that later as well. Dutch Jura, hi everyone. Been watching in the background for a few weeks. Got Living Souls 99 plus one in my glass. Cheers all. What a dram. What a dram that is. I've not had it, and the only reason I know what a dram it is because I trust quite a few people who have bought it and love it. And the price. It's Lecheg, isn't it? And it's like 50, 57, 58 quid. No money. And I actually had a friend of mine message today. He'd got the Kubokin 15 last year, and he's obviously drank through it, and he messaged me and says, was this the one I had? And I said, yeah, that was it. He goes, I'm looking for a gift between £60 and £80 for people. They love Kalila 12. What should I get? And I was like, right, okay. He's like, it had to be lightly peated. But lightly peated for some people is heavily peated for others. Like it goes all over the place. And so for the value and for just like something different, I recommended this, the Living Souls. Because I just think, why not? It's got a great story. Again, it's got a story behind it with the grain and whatever, and you can see that, and it's a secret island distillery and all that. If you're gifting somebody something, I like something like that. So, great dram. Alan, I left it too late in that I saw the post, I saw it going live, I checked to log in. Oh no, I never logged. I clicked the link and it said need to log in, and then I thought I'll do it in a minute, and I was at work, and so I had an email and stuff to get back to, and then when I went back, it was all gone. It was all gone, and I was like, oh fuck, I wish I'd got it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, they are 10 now, so hopefully there'll be more 10s that come out and whatever. But by all accounts, it seems everybody loves it, and I saw that they had what looked like a fantastic event last night. Was it in Glasgow at the old Toll Bar, which is a great spot where someone actually sent me there. We went to Clydeside a couple of years ago, and there was a few of us. We were up for the weekend, and we had Burns lunch at Artisan. And then we went back into Glasgow, night out, and then the next day, a little bit rough, walked along Finniston, and then went over down to Clydeside. And one of the wonderful women working there is also a bit of a whiskey influencer, not influencer, whiskey Instagrammer influencer, does tastings and all that. Her name, shame on me, the name's slipping. I want to say it's like the Malt Maiden or something. I can't quite remember her handle. But it turns out she does tastings in the old toll bar. Well, she used to do these tastings in the old toll bar, and the way they would do it is they would give her the money, she would do pick the bottles, do the tasting, and then the bottles would be left behind the bar. And she said there's a cracking selection and nobody drinks it, and it's priced to be drunk. And we went down, and we were flying back that night, and we ended up sitting in there for like, I think we got in there about 2:30, and we were there until 6:45, and just went through the back bar, just loved it. Ended up finishing like a 30-year-old Thompson Brothers. I think it was maybe I don't think it was Invergordon, but it was like something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was unbelievable. And we managed to, we drank like half the bottle. We finished the bottle. There was 5 of us, but I think we were pricing it at like $5.50 a dram. Just like, get on it. So I divulged, that was a big tangent, but the 10-year-old, I've heard great things, delighted for them. I'm so happy it's going well, and I'm seeing that they're hiring as well. So if anybody you know is involved in whiskey, lives in Glasgow, wants to move to Glasgow, wants to do something different, there's a couple of roles opened up there, which is really exciting. Mark has Thompson Brothers Dalyoun in the glass. It's great. Yes, Dalyoun is fantastic. And Whiskey Broker. So if you don't know Whiskey Broker, Google it, Whiskey Broker. Big operation, sells casks, sells bottles as well. They had a big shipment come in of Dalyoun, and they were selling casks of it, like 200 litres and above, of new make. And so you could buy it and then leave it there in storage and whatever. 850 quid for a cask. Granted, you've got to pay your storage fees, you've got to pay your tax and your duty and stuff when you go to bottle it, but you're talking about, what? Wouldn't it be more than 1,600 quid total in 8 years, 10 years, whenever you want to do it. So, again, speaking to some friends, going, shall we chip in and do this? So that's on the cards. I think it's all gone, to be honest. I think we're going to be a bit late to it, but we're definitely going to reach out and just say if anything comes up again. Purely for drinking. I think we worked it out at that price, divided by is we'd get like 60 odd bottles each, and roughly in the vicinity of £6.50 to £8, depending on the tax, a bottle. So everybody and their dog will be getting whiskey from me in 10 years' time, for their Christmas, birthdays, christenings, funerals, the lot. Marcos, looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to it. We've had, if you want to know more about Marcos, more about North Star or anything like that, we did a fantastic sit down. The only episode so far, because time's a bastard, and try to tie people down, of the Drams podcast, which basically it was a sit down. It was the Friday before the Glasgow Whisky Festival as well. Talk about cutting it tight in the middle of the Bon Accord on a Friday night, and amazingly you can hear us. So it worked out well. That's picked up traction recently. That's got quite a few views. The algorithm can be a funny thing on YouTube, and it can push content out and not push it. And so it's picked up traction on it, and I think a lot of people have really enjoyed it. So absolutely looking forward to it. Tony toured with Marcus at Glengoyne. North Star gig is as amazing as it sounds. Oh, he's got a cracking job, hasn't he? What a tough gig. Try to show North Star spirit. Nightmare. Right. This would have been better last week. Last week we did the theme of the Drams was roughly bourbon cask. On the nose, just the SRV 5 is just I'm just seeing if it. No, it's not bourbon, but it's Solera, isn't it? So, batch 13. Just on the nose, it's wonderful. Waxiness to it. Wow. I think my mouth's suffering a little bit from yesterday, from the too many beers. Oh. It's just a lovely dram. And that's something that's going to, that SRV5 is going to constantly evolve as time goes on. Just, there we go, that's what I was looking for. I've got a button that I can do and it can hide the comments and bring them up. So, we are, oh, God, time flies. 25 minutes in already. We've not got to news. I'm going to try something. So you're going to have to bear with me here as I try this. If it goes smoothly, we're laughing. If it doesn't, we're laughing. So we learned the music doesn't change if it happens. So there's a wee one. But welcome to Whiskey News. Who drinks whiskey? The Whiskey News. I thought I would do. We get a wee segment in there where we can have a proper hard cut into the world of whiskey. A few bits and pieces this week, and by all means, guys, please, this is a two-way street. Any whiskey news or anything that you want to bring up, fire it in the chat during this. You can obviously fire it in chat anytime, but I thought we'd bring it up. One of the first things I was going to talk about was Glasgow hitting 10 years old. The release of the bottle selling out. Really, really, really like delighted for everybody there. I think Seb and Libby that work there, who I've had the pleasure of meeting and talking to, represent the brand so well and have done a fantastic job of getting it into the hands of people. They had a little bit of a tricky start at the beginning, let's say, with the smaller bottlings. People being a bit funny about 500ml. They upped it, kept the price at the same. The single casks, this limited releases, just got everybody raving about them. And the 10-year-old coming out and just flying off the shelf is a testament to everybody's efforts and work there. So fantastic. Now, I've mentioned already they had the party at the Old Toll bar and stuff like that. So they're only going from strength to strength. Big cheers to them. Congratulations, guys. Next up, I've just seen in the chat, Alan's just mentioned it, and of course, let's talk about that. Loch Lomond. I don't know why the comments are up there. Loch Lomond Distillery Edition 8 was released. I don't have I'm going to try. Let's see if I can remember this. I believe it's 15 years old. It's technically under a single grain, but that's due to the still used. God, I'm trying to remember this. That was another one that flew off the shelves. I think it's sold out again. I never get near it. I put up a post on Instagram today of the last release, the 7. I think it was the 7, which was fantastic. Just a fruity, amazing dram. And in my post, I literally say, like, I'm loving that Loch Lomond is getting its flowers now. The output that they're doing is fantastic, but it's a bit of a cursed. It's a cursed blessing because it means that unless you're fast on the draw, these bottles are flying off the shelves. But I think, again, it's very similar to Glasgow and stuff like that. If you treat the right communities the right way, you'll get the support. And I think they've leaned in on that, and they still have their core releases, and they do their open bottles, and they do this and that. Fine. I don't buy much. I like independent Loch Lomond. I've got quite a few SMWS ones. I think I've got 2 19-year-olds that were like 80 quid. They're great. But the 12 and the 14 stuff aren't really... They are for me. I would buy them to drink, but they're great gateways in for people, whereas they do these distillery edition releases, which are for us, and they fly, and it's fantastic. So do let me know if anybody managed to get some. Oh, Adrian's just updated. There's 87 bottles left. Oh, No, because my wife will be watching this now. No, I'm not buying any more whiskey. I promise. But we'll have a wee look later on. And Alan's saying correct. So I got it right. Did I get the 15-year-old single grain? But it's actually malted barley, but it's the way they distill it, and it's the still they use. So it'll be great. It'll be really good. Evening, Rob. Hope you're keeping well. What's in the glass? I'm currently on the SRV5, Thompson Brothers. Alan's trying to get me divorced. Do it. And Adrian's whipping out the credit card. Yeah, but they did that Golden Week, didn't they? Where they had like the discount, and that's what made me buy the last one. It was just the final push, and I know people that picked up like 3 or 4 bottles of it because they were just like, it's really great. I want more. I want more of that. And again, if you're doing that, people will lean in. So, absolutely. In other news, I did have a list. Let me see if I can find my list. Again, nothing if not professional. Where is it? Here it is. In other news, Sazerac announced that they were changing. I never even knew they had an Irish distillery, but they've rebranded the distillery in Sligo, and it was previously called, I think, Low Glen or Lough Glen. Depends how you pronounce it. Lough. Gill. And they've had it for 2 years, and they've renamed it to Hawks Rock Distillery. I've seen it a lot. I've seen quite a few posts on Instagram about it, the rebrand. It'll be interesting to see. And the reason I say it's interesting to see is because it's Ireland, it's EU, and with the tariffs coming in, America's our largest, I'm pretty sure America's Irish whiskey's largest export market. Obviously, Sazerac, there might be a bit of jiggery pokery or whatever goes on, so it'll be a really interesting one to do. Terrible timing, but you just got to roll with the punches. So that'll be an interesting one. We also have the news that Southern Ireland, Tullamore, are basically pulling back stills. They've got 9 stills, and they're pulling back 3 stills, pausing them, and then they're going to pause another 3 further down the line and be running the 3 stills. Now they're owned by William Grant and Sons as well, so it's pretty bad because there's going to be a lot of jobs in the local area. At the moment, there's nothing saying there's job losses, but if you're shutting production down from 9 stills to eventually 3, there'll be some that'll happen. So it's no great news there, and that's again leaning in on that Irish side. Everything's going a wee bit funny. Lecheg have done their first 10-year-old cask strength whiskey, and I'm just looking at the picture of it now in a beautiful purple box, very Halloweeny looking. Clever move, clever way of doing it. I'm just trying to see if I can see. They're pricing it at 85 quid though. How do you feel about 85 quid for a Lecheg cask strength at 10 years old? What's Springbank cask strength at? Like 75 quid? 80 quid? Feels a wee bit, but it's bottled at 58.8%, and I'll see if I can find out what cask. Second fill bourbon casks. So that would be interesting, second fill though. So wait and see what comes up with that. One that was good. So if you didn't know, it's English Whiskey Week, which a lot of people didn't know, including, I noticed Jeff Whiskey. Jeff posted that he's been so heads down that he never realised, and is one of the co-founders and organisers of the English Online Whiskey Awards. He called it out. He says, oh, I've kind of let the ball slip a wee bit here. But there's not been much in it. However, Compass Box, who've already mentioned earlier, they came out with the world's first, let me read this right, the world's first English vatted malt whiskey, and they called it Scot Free. And there's 61 bottles of it, and you could enter the ballot to win them. Now, I don't know if the ballot's still open. It runs until the 30th of April. I've just seen, I'm reading the thing. The reason there's 61 bottles is it represents the 61 English distilleries, whiskey distilleries that are in production now, which is mad. 61 English distilleries. Crazy. Bottled at 48.7%. And fair play. They used man of the people, Tom Skinner. If you don't know who he is, don't worry. To launch it. And fine. So it'll be interesting. I've entered it. Be great to even get a try of it to see what it's like. The Woven release that is an English blend was brilliant. I tried it in Croydon and really shocked me with how good it was and how fruity. It was very, very fruity, very red berry. Great. So we've had those things, but then also you might see in the ticker here, we've got another distillery on the cards in Scotland opening up, Ardgowan, Inverkip, but there's another one that I couldn't find any details of. I've seen it on Instagram. There's another one opening up as well near Glasgow, and I'm just like, oh, what's going on? It's not unlimited money. And when I was talking about that, the Dalyoun that's available at Whiskey Broker, and thinking to myself, God, 850 quid for a cask of new make, brilliant. And then you go through the prices of the matured stock and whatever, you realise that there's a lot of people out there that'll be sitting on some casks that'll at negative equity massively, with the way it's all went recently. So, look, still my money. If people want to open distilleries, let them open distilleries. I just think it's maybe if you can pause and hold off at the moment, now might be the time to do that. The way the world is economically and the way that the tariffs and stuff are impacting Ireland and stuff. Obviously, it seems we're going to get a closer relationship with Europe and the UK, so we can always punt stuff out there. But it's a strange one. But yes, guys, that is our first news section of Saturday Night Drams. And now I'm going to try and see what happens when I press the button again. And it worked. It came back. Brilliant. We survived. Thankfully, I don't have any other buttons I need to press for that sort of thing. We've not got any other sections or anything done. But you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to force myself to have a structure within these live streams. Because there's not that much that happens in the world of Whiskey Weekly that enables me to do a huge news segment and constantly come up with stuff. And we're having a bit of fun, aren't we? We're having a bit of fun. Now, let's get back to the comments. I've just seen Jeffrey, who'd nipped out to the shop to pick up a bottle. He has picked up a bottle of Old Forester single barrel. Brilliant. Fantastic. And Rob, he's getting out in the glass yet. That's fine, mate. Don't you worry about that. I'm sure you'll have time to get more. I'm just going to do the housekeeping and fix. I think it's because the box is too big. That's it. Hide that comment. Nothing in the glass, but you're going out. Great. Adrian commenting on the Lecheg. Yeah, a little bit. Almost twice the price of the normal. It'll be interesting. I feel in the current climate as well, excuse me, you'll only get one shot. So if the product's not good enough at that price, people will just kind of swerve it moving forward. So I'm hopeful that maybe they've been smart. He says, but he'll probably still get it. Yeah. Bit of shock is always think of Tobermory being fair price wise. Yeah, and then you saw that Living Souls Lecheg. Now, granted, it's not super high ABV, but they tread a fine line, and you can get Lecheg 18 a lot of the time at a good price. So it needs to be that step up. I know that when Boona Haven, and I like a Boona, when they came out with their cast strength stuff, the price was a bit. I never bought it because of the price. I couldn't justify it. But by all means, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic whiskey. It's just sometimes it's hard to position your proposition up a bit if your price is always down here, you know. Cheers, Alan. Try my best. I try. Craig, great to have you in. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Right. Back to the Thompson Brothers. Just brilliant. My mouth is a little bit delicate. That's not even that strong ABV. I think that rules us out. I think that definitely rules out the Octomore. Because I think at 59.6%, that would just absolutely destroy my mouth this evening. My inner lip. But, absolute bargain. So the next dram, I think I'm going to go, let's see, 57.5, God. What's this? That is 45. Oh, this is went. See what I mean? Can't trust the tech. I was looking at this. I think this will be the next one. Come in a wee bit so you can see it better. I'll try and do that. So it's Jack Daniels, aged white oak, and then finished in Oloroso sherry casks. 45%. Released in December 2023. I've not even looked it up because it was a gift. And therefore I don't care if it's expensive or if it's highly sought after or whatever. It's getting drank. It's getting opened. So actually I'll open it now and let it breathe a little bit. Not that it'll make much difference breathing in the bottle and not being poured, but do what we do. So, where were we? We've done the news. We've chatted about that. Everybody's starting to get the drinks in the glass. Craig, what have you got? What's going on there? We've got Jeffrey. He's on his way back. He went to the liquor store to pick up a bottle. He's got the Old Forester in the glass. He's got that going. We're going to have the Jack Daniels in the glass after I finish the Thompson Brothers. As I said, we have Limburg's happening just now. Then I was looking at the calendar. I've got an event next week. I it got organised a while ago, and then it got changed and it's back in. So I'm going to Buffalo Trace in London on, I believe it's Thursday night. I'll need to check the diary, but I believe it's Thursday night. And I'm looking forward to that. I don't know, I'm not too sure of the details of it, if I'm honest. I was invited by Kyle, the manager there, who I had known for years. And I'm in one of the whisky groups with him. And he said, "Oh, do you want to come along?" And I said, absolutely, absolutely. And I did do the video where I went when they launched, and it was like the PR thing, and I got to have an amazing tasting of just unreal bourbons. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think there's more events, summary time. We have this kind of, don't we? We ramp up a bit, and then it goes quiet. It goes quiet for a month or two, and then once September comes, it's whiskey season. But the big thing about next week is set your diary, get your diaries open, set the calendar, set your alarm. 11 AM Saturday, Glasgow Whisky Festival tickets go on sale. So if you want them, that's when you get them. So I need to make sure I pick those up. So I have the Buffalo Trace thing next week. I have, because of the news that I mentioned at the beginning, this week's been a bit of a write-off in terms of having any time to make new content, but I put out a video, a Black Lodge Ramblings video, a proper ramble, on Monday, on Easter Monday, that I just set up the camera right above me on a little magnetic mount and just shot the shit about the channel and what I'm doing. I've been teasing for a while about what I want to do, because I've had some people ask about Patreon, I've asked some people ask about the memberships, and I kind of alluded to it in that video, so I'm not going to keep harping on about it. I was talking to a friend at work about it, and I think the main thing for me is I want to be able to give something for it. I want something tactile, something real, if that makes sense, rather than just it all be purely digital. So I'm due to get stuff back this week. I'm really excited for it. I'll be telling you all about it in more detail but I'm just going to, I keep alluding to it, and I hate when people do that. I hate it, and I apologise. It's more that I just don't want to, I have to mention it, and at the same time, I can't tell you anything about it. But I'm excited for it. We have, so next week we get the tickets, and then a couple of weeks after that, it's Campbelltown Whisky Fest, which I know a load of these are going to, and I'm not jealous at all. Not in the slightest. That'll be amazing. You'll have a fantastic, I'm so jealous. You've got Campbelltown, you've got at the, also I think next weekend is it Spirit of Speyside is next weekend, which I've had my gripe about before, and I think Spirit of Speyside's missing a trick. I just don't know who they've priced it for, because they've no priced it for us. And as much as you're like, oh, just Spirit of Speyside, and there's all these events and that. Firstly, the distance covered for Spirit of Speyside, it's a small area, but it's a lot of jumping about. The accommodation is finite there, so it can be really pricey to get there. You're an hour either side to get to it if you fly into Inverness or Aberdeen, or if you're coming up, it's like a 3.5 hour drive up from Glasgow or Edinburgh. So it's not the easiest to get to. The offering, the events themselves and what you can do is fantastic, but they've priced it just for like it has to be tourists. It's like, oh, you can go to the distillery and do a tour that you don't normally do, and it's like 80 quid. That it just rubs me up the wrong way, and I just think they're missing the opportunity. So that's coming up, but the dates, I read one website and it said it was the end of May, and then I looked online at their Instagram and stuff, and it seems to be it's next week. So if you know, let me know in the chat. Alan said he needs to get a JD barrel strength. The bottled and bond is okay. It tastes like Jack Daniels, but just a wee bit stronger. The 10-year-old is great. The 12-year-old is unbelievable. And I've not had the pleasure of getting a sniff of a 14-year-old. What a terrible thing to say, but you know what I'm talking about. The 14 came out this year, and it's just, again, some influencers in that, and people I know in the States are raving about it, and I trust them. But I don't think we'll see it on these shows at all. Tony's pulled the Campbelltown Lock, lovely. The batch. The Campbelltown Lock that I announced as the winner of the Oswaz whiskey blend, and then made the mistake of being like, nah, I would have voted for that. What an idiot. But if you want to watch the Oswaz and watch, like, sometimes I'm too honest. No one being negative, but it just never got, it wasn't what I voted for. Adrian's asking if anybody picked up Whiskey Fringe tickets. I can see that Alan's picked up the Sunday ticket. Adrian's delighted. He's got 2 for Saturday. First time to it, mate. It's you'll have a fantastic time at it. Absolutely. And Alan's mentioning the halftime orange. I did the I've got the, again, I can hark back. I'm pointing, just driving. You guys have already watched the videos, back to my videos. But anybody watching on catch up or repeat or whatever, Whiskey Fringe, Glasgow Whiskey Festival, and the London Whiskey Show, the Whiskey Show. I went to all 3 last year. And normally I make individual videos of these events, but I thought it'd be really useful. I thought for people of those 3 could see what each one is like and what's the differences. And Whiskey Fringe was fantastic. The selection was unreal. The halftime oranges, the stuff going on with that, brilliant. This is not an official line, and it might not happen for everybody, and it might, or some might do it for you and some won't. I found that the halftime orange, pick something that you are really interested in, or someone that you really enjoy the stuff of, rather than trying to go where the most popular sounding one would be. So like Springbank had something and it was rammed, And I know that Decadent Drinks, Whiskey Sponge, they had something really mad and it was rammed. I went to Woven and got their halftime orange because Pete, the master blender, had posted on Instagram the night before that he had blended something special for it that was pure orange. And it was this orange, just like, think Glenmorangie on like crack, just like pure orange. And it was great. And yet I still got some more halftime orange dram pours later on by just having a bit of chat and talking to people and asking about it and saying, any chance I can have one? Because you're already well lubricated by that point, and the fear factor is gone of asking and being denied. So it's a great event. Alan saying last year he had the Tomatin 36-year-old. Exactly, see stuff like that. But you just, if you're into it and you go and you try it, it'll blow you away. I had the Kilkerran as well that they had. I'm trying to remember the other. I videoed it, and there's a reason why I kind of voice over a lot of that one, because I was enjoying myself, maybe a wee bit too much. Just getting sorted, Craig. Hosted Whiskey Night in the Bar on a signatory Ben Rinnis. Yeah, what a cracker. I'm nursing that bottle I've got of it. I think I said this before, but I had a friend round from work and he loves his Kalilas and stuff like that. And I gave him that Ben Rinnis, and I could see him. We were watching the football and I could see him get his phone out, and before he even did it, I was like, don't search for it because you won't get any. Alan saying, I've just triggered him. I kind of get annoyed at festivals, folks who spend their time trying to get under the table stuff, and that's all they talk about. I view it different. I want to try as many whiskies that I actually have the potential to buy. Yeah, no, completely, mate, as well. I think, hopefully I never came across the wrong way with that. What I mean is, from my point of view with the halftime oranges, it was more along the lines of, you can go for that highly sought after one. It's more that afterwards, it's the same at the whiskey show, and it's probably the same at Glasgow, where when I was at Glasgow, there was people lingering around and they were all looking for exactly that. What's under the counter? What have you got under the table? I want that. I don't want what's on the table. And I'm like, give me what's on the table. I want to try core range. I want to try stuff that maybe I've tried before and not been into. Maybe my palate's changed. Clydeside being a prime example. Got to try the newer Clydeside stuff. So much better. Brilliant. Didn't have to commit to buying a dram. Didn't have to commit to a bottle. Got to try it. Glenmurray, their core range. The Twisted Vine and stuff like that. Brilliant. Again, stuff that I would just kind of normally bypass. And I agree with you completely on that. I think they almost seek out these because they think that's where the good stuff is. And all the good like, the guys are showing the good stuff. They've got the good stuff in front of them because they're selling their brand. And I don't know if Marcos is still in, but if he's still watching, he'll be able to testify to it, because he's one of those guys the other side of the table. And the stuff North Star had on their table at Glasgow, I don't think they were hiding anything better, because the selection was unbelievable. And so I would offer that little bit of advice to people as well. Not that anybody here needs it, but don't be that person. Don't be the one that's wanting the under-the-counter drams. I say it, just talk to people, have a bit of chat about you, show your passion, show you that you care. If you've never had that whiskey before, try it, ask some questions. If they know that you like, you properly are a enthusiast and you enjoy it, if they offer you, brilliant. I always think it's better to be offered than to ask. But I was asking because we're on the table. I could see them. And I was just like, can I try that? I think I had like some super old Redbreast at one point as well. I was just asking. I was like, oh, could I try it? And then at the London show, I have these Drinks Whiskey shiny stickers that I got made just to put on things, and I had a pocket for them, and again, lubricated. Just walk up to people and be like, I've not got my Dream Dram token, but I do have a shiny. Can I swap you a shiny sticker for a dram. And a lot of the time it worked. I had like a 37-year-old Craig Ellicky. Brilliant. That's Adrian saying the North Star selection was insane at Glasgow Whisky Festival last year. And I remember he showed me, because I was talking to him the night before, Marcos showed me what he was taking. I was like, how you get, like, because he'd said, I was like, how you get that man in the table? And I can see that he's on, there he is. I do under the table drams on the table, around about 80 bottles. Because I'm sure he can correct me here, but he was definitely, I think there was a bottle limit, apparently a bottle guidance limit given to all the exhibitors. And Marcos might have lost it. Just might have had it in a bit of paper and lost it accidentally. And Alan's saying, don't get me wrong, if you're having a chat and they offer you something, you say yes, exactly, and that's what it's about, as opposed to going hunting for them. And also, at halftime orange, right, you can only get one. And I think that's why I'm saying, pick something that's really interesting for you that you might never get an opportunity to try again, but maybe it's different. Maybe you're no following the crowd. Maybe you are. Maybe you're unfortunate and you do really want the thing that everybody's going to go after. And you're cute and you get it, and that's fine, but you're missing out on an opportunity to do some deep diving on some just maybe a wee bit more obscure or whatever. Or maybe you've got a couple of them, have that chat with them and say, look, I really want to try this or whatever, or what, can I buy a token, can I get a drink? Like, just have that conversation and be really, really honest with it. Alan saying, Marcos, your table did you like a meal. it was mad. I think I had one dram there, and I came back and they like just free pouring everything. You did North Star were a credit at that festival. Never saw it quiet at all. Right, different glass. Wee Bardstown glass that I picked up last year. We're going on with the Jack Daniels. Now I'm being cautious with the pour. Oh God, I thought I was being cautious. It looks a lot less from that angle. Still quite a decent amount. We'll see. Super sweet on the nose. Like, very, 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 you know, like the fizzy strawberry laces, but the cola ones you get, with the thick pencil-like ones, like that. Yeah, almost like vermouth, like red vermouth, Spanish, like Rosso, like whatever you call it. Has a very similar vibe to it. Colour. Doesn't taste like Jack. Not like number 7 at all. Maybe leave it a wee second or two. I haven't just done that Thompson Brothers. Adrian saying he bought the Capella 30-year-old after trying it at the stand. Yeah, great. Great whiskey. Funky wee glass. Yeah, no, I do. I liked it. It was a wee bit different. Like, it's like a fat, like a podgy Glencairn. You know, like if you just squashed it. I never bought any when I was at Bardstown. I never bought any Bardstown. I bought a tasting pack of 4 that I gave to one of the guys in my whiskey group because he was keen on it and had new make and stuff in it. But the pricing was bang on what it was here. And so I just never saw any point in lugging it all the way back here when it's the same price. And they never had anything too exclusive at the time that I could only get there. Why are all these comments coming in at this size? Let me see. I'm going to have to do a wee bit of, let's see, a wee bit of remote admin here. make a difference? Does that make a difference? Strange. Any news, Craig, on the Thompson Brothers mystery bottles? I was talking to one of the fine gents at the Whisky Exchange yesterday, and he doesn't know if they're getting them. He presumes he is. He presumes they're getting in. But I've not seen them out yet. I think they come out this week. And I believe they're, again, you guys might know better than me, I think they're 65 quid a bottle. So you're probably going to get anywhere from 65, 70 quid a bottle. It's a great concept. It'll be really good fun. I think there's nothing too rogue in the selection of the drams that would have me worried. I think the concept's great. I think going in blind and then getting it and just trying it, it's a little bit like it's taking the SMWS model and pushing it even further out at the initial point. And by that I mean when I've went to SMWS before and we've ordered a flight and we've said to people behind the bar, we've just been like, look, fancy something like this, something like that, something like this, but like more flavour profile. Can you just pick some for us? Trusting them not to just upsell bottles and eat a punt. And gives a selection. And it's been great because it was the first time I remember the first time in there, it was the first time I had Ardmore that wasn't that legacy one, the 20 quid bottle that they were punting for ages in supermarkets. And I wouldn't have picked it. I would not have picked Ardmore. And obviously all the bottles, SMWS, are like some witty phrase, slogan, whatever. And then they have the code, and then you can learn the codes and you can buy. Because I think 28 is Clean Leash, maybe. I know that 13 is Dalmore. I'm really pushing it out. 13 is Dalmore. I want to say 24 is Macallan. And so forth. You can just Google it as well and find them. Whereas this is you're not even seeing on the bottle what it is. You have to open it first, and then it's opened, you're gonna have to drink it. But you'll find that out. I'm saying I remember being impressed with the taro blend for the price. I'm saying, yep, great value for taro. I've got a bottle of the taro down there. I think I've got the Joker. I've not opened it yet. Again, it's one of the ones that's next to the blends where I wanted to do a blend video. So I was going to crack that open for that. Oh. Kind of forgot that was Jack Daniels. It's pleasant. It drinks a wee bit hotter than I expected for the proof. It's very, to me, it's like high proof vermouth. Like herbal, little bit the minerality of Tennessee whiskies there. I think that might be the water. The sherries, it's because it's in the sherry cask. It just has that very similar profile. So if you've not had vermouth has made a massive comeback amongst young folk in Spain because it was the red vermouth, ice, slice of orange, brilliant. And it's if you're day drinking as well, it just keeps you on a perfect level, and that's what that reminds me of. Very similar. Nice one, nice. It'd be a potent replace the vermouth and a Negroni with that. God. What are we seeing here? There we go. Mark's on Spring Night 10. Amontillado in the glass now. What a joy. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I've got a bottle of it. That for some reason it's never made its way down here. It's with the local barley. I need to just bring them down. They're in the house. We spoke about it last week. Springbank 5-year-old is on the horizon, which is an interesting choice. We've got Campbelltown Whisky Festival coming up. I think they've started. Did I read? Yeah, they've released what's coming out there. You've got the Malt Barns Dinner, which everybody thinks is going to be Kilkerran again, as opposed to Springbank. We'll see. Hazelburn. Hazelburn's been quiet. I've got a cage bottle behind there at Hazelburn that same friend that got me the Jack Daniels left. And the reason I never picked up was because of the proof. I think it's 57.8, give or take. Let's see. Just checking. There we go. Nothing untoward happening. Let's see, I'm going to see if this camera works again. You might be able to hear it. It keeps beeping. I'm using the iPhone. The iPhone does like you can use it as a secondary wireless camera. It's quite clever. Move the weight of that. There we go. Is that going to still keep rolling? There we go. So that's the Jack Daniels. It's nice. It is nice. So, where were we? I had my rant about Spirit of Speyside. I think the pricing there, they could do so much more. They could really attract quite a lot more people. It's something I would love to do. I did look at it when they released all the events, and then I looked at the prices and I just thought, no. Glasgow Whisky Festival tickets next week. The Edinburgh Whisky Festival is one that I've never been to. They seem to be growing. If anybody in the chat's been, well, how did you find it? Was it enjoyable? Was it not? I don't know. I'm not sure what's. I don't know if I know enough to warrant it. And if it warrants a trip, do let me know. I could maybe tie it in with an Edinburgh video, an Edinburgh Drams on the Run video I'd like to do, and gives me an excuse to go. We have that. We have in May as well, so skip coming back because that one's in October. Back into May, we have the Somerton Whisky Festival, which is happening the 16th or 17th of May on a Saturday. That's in St Albans. If you've never been to St Albans, cracking pubs, really good pubs in St Albans. A friend of mine had a birthday day out there. We went and it was a pub crawl. Just really good pubs, good cider pubs as well, which are quite, how often is it like, oh, that's a good cider pub? But like big, I remember one pub having this mad range of ciders. Really good. So Somerton have that. Exhibitors. Unfortunately, that weekend, it's my wife's birthday. So that's just not happening. Billy, thanks for joining us. Can't drink alcohol for the time being, so just water in the glass. No problem with that, mate, at all. Hope you're keeping well. Hope everything's going okay. Adrian, on last year's Ardnamurchan Adventurer bottle, small batch Madeira, lovely stuff. I think I have that bottle. I never bought the latest release, which again I kind of regret. I'm just being a bit more frugal with my buys, but I definitely bought. Was that the small batch? It was a couple of casks, wasn't it, put together? If so, I have it. I've not opened it. But good to know that it's really nice. Went to Edinburgh Whisky Festival a few years ago. Was decent, perhaps more general punters than whiskey nerds. Yeah, I just got the vibe that it wasn't quite that. And by that I mean, like, we'll talk about Limburg, we'll talk about Glasgow, that kind of vibe of it. But I could be wrong, especially if more exhibitors are going. They obviously do a lot of stuff for the My Name is Doddy charity as well, and I know they've had a few kind of other YouTube channels and stuff like that do podcasts and stuff at the event. So I don't know if maybe they're trying to branch out to a wider audience, or if they're trying to get it more hardcore kind of whiskey enthusiast audience. I don't know, but fair play to them. It seems they've expanded again this year, so it can only be positive. And if it's bringing general punters in and getting them into whiskey, and if of those every 100 people, 6 of them become proper like whiskey nerds, brilliant, and start buying more and more, great. We still need to fill it up. What Brook Laddie is on the table? Right, here we go again. I'm going to try this and see if this will work, because it keeps disconnecting. It is the 2014 Isla Barley, which cost me the grand sum of 35 quid last week. And apparently it's not opened yet. I'm crack it open soon. Apparently very good. Very good. I like what Brook Laddie, there it goes again. Bloody camera. I like what they do. I like Brook Laddie, and I've been on a couple of tastings over the last couple of years with them, and when they rebranded and they did all the stuff, it's good liquid, and it makes all the difference, especially when they do stuff like that. You're just saying, yes, 2 casks. Yes, I have that bottle. I do have that bottle. I don't know if you can hear that wee beep. It keeps beeping. This bloody phone. It's really frustrating. Let me see if this will make a difference. Doubt it, but we'll try. So we have that. That's happening. Back to Somerton. Somerton it's a whiskey festival off the back of the Somerton Whiskey Club, which, if you don't know, anybody can join, and you pay a set fee every month or every quarter. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And they send you a mystery bottle. I think it's every month. And they do tie-ins and stuff like that. I think they recently did one of the Spade. What one was it? Spadeburn, maybe? Or I'm not sure. But they do loads of stuff like that. And this is a big thing. And by all means, it's a really great day out. Just gutted I can't go. That's on the Saturday. On the Sunday in London, you have another one that I've never been to. The Whiskey Event, which happens at one of the hotels in Mayfair, Park Lane. And it apparently has an amazing buffet. And I believe it happens on the Sunday, which is quite strange for a festival. The only day to be on a Sunday in an evening, and it's a school day the next day, is because the founders are Jewish, and so therefore Saturday is their holiday, and so they wouldn't do it on Saturday, so they do it on the Sunday. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And they run the store, the whiskey. I think the shop is the Whiskey World. I think it's online as well. They do phenomenal tastings. They do everybody raves about the buffet, the food, and it seems like a really good day out. Again, it's another one I would love to go to. There's probably a wee bit more leeway for me to maybe get to that, but I've not bought a ticket yet. It's not been a priority to go. So you have all those kind of coming up in May. We then move on to, I'm just going through the calendar in my head. I don't think there's much, I could be wrong, correct me, but I don't think there's much else after that happening. You have the festivals. So Campbelltown Festival is that week. So then you move into the festival from the Monday right through to the Friday, Saturday. Then we have, then it's Fish Isla, isn't it? In Isla. So you get into the kind of festival season, then it goes quiet for a couple of months, then we're back into whiskey season, and everybody's fed up of summer. Never happens here. And then it goes into the deep dark months. So there is quite a bit going on at the moment. And I hope you guys get out as much as you can. If you can't, I think try to live vicariously through online. People going and stuff like that is a good way of doing it, and seeing what their opinions of stuff is. But when it's really good, I think like Limburg must be, you don't see or hear anything for ages. Everybody's silent on all socials. There's Alan confirming for me the Somerton. Yes, it's every 2 months you get a bottle. Last two were Speyburn 18 and Wolfburn 11. And Alan, what price is that? What do you need to pay? What's the exact payment of that? And Mark's asking, did anyone try the Holyrood Pitch Oloroso? No, I've not, mate. I've not. To be honest, I've not tried any of their stuff for a while. I tried the first release, and it was nice. It was fine. It wasn't bad by any means. I heard somebody mention this the other day that Holyrood might be in a wee bit of trouble. I don't know that for sure. Maybe you guys know more. I don't know if they're struggling a bit. I don't know if they did go right heavy down that brewing route when they were releasing all those new makes, and it was all the different yeast selections and stuff like that, and malts, and it was a bit scattergun, the approach. And I always feel when brands do scattergun, it's hard to pick up. Jeffrey, wow, you this Old Forester 130. Old Forester's great stuff, man. Absolutely brilliant. 130.4. So that would be, what's that? 65.2%. I hope you're not near any open flames, Jeffrey. Jesus Christ. How does it drink? Give us a bit of a profile for that. Alan said he thinks it's 60 quid a month. Is that 60 quid a month or 60 quid every 2 months? Just went up from 50 as Dan, who runs Somerton. He's not able to get the quality he wanted for 50 anymore, which is fair enough. I think it is. What would that be? That's a 20% increase. It's tough times out there. Like, more power to them. It's some endeavour, and the margins aren't big at all. 60 every 2 months, that 30 quid a month. You know, Netflix is like, what, 16 quid a month now? I went into Starbucks and I've noticed that Starbucks coffees are like £4.50, £5 now for like coffees that used to be a couple of quid. So 30 quid a month, 60 quid. And again, you've got to, yeah, exactly, Spayburn 18 for 60 quid. It's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? And good news, Jeffrey quit smoking 8 years ago, so he's no open flames next to him with that close to hazmat. Old Forester he's picked up. I'm trying to put my thoughts on that Jack Daniels. It was I don't think I would. I think I could give this to people, and I don't think they would know it's Jack Daniels. They're saying sweet citrus on the nose, builds a palate of rich baking spices, nutmeg, and caramel, lingering to finish with notes of red fruit. Aye, I would just say red vermouth. And it was selected by whiskey taster Randall Fanning. Oh, Randall. It's nice. Quite pleasant. Definitely one to give someone who's got maybe a very negative opinion of Jack Daniels. Next up, we will go... Do we go in solidarity with Jeffrey? Did I go for the Old Forester? No, what I'm going to go for is I'm going to crack open. Me as well. We'll get into this. We get closer. 50%. It's the Brook Laddie Isla Ballet 2014, aged 8 years. It tells you where it was, the average temperature when it was harvested, 12 degrees. I think 12 degrees maybe the average temperature in general. Average rain 2.2 millimeters. September, October it must be. Average sun 11 hours 32. Just seeing if it, what else it says on it. Just that's that. Oh well. I'm gonna need some assistance to get this open. Absolutely no nails. There we go. Talk amongst yourselves, guys, while I struggle to open this bloody plastic monstrosity. I love that all over the bottles, like, we're a B Corp, we're so environmentally friendly and secure, and then they wrap it in this mental plastic. There we go. Oh, come on. Even better than that, guys. Nah. That's finest moment. Wonderful nose. Let's see, does it say what the... Tell me cask. No. Oh no, it does. It does. I thought it was going to tell me nothing about the actual. Cereal Forward Spirit has been stored in ex-bourbon and ex-wine casks in our Isla warehouses. Floral and complex with a maritime citrus note. Says a lot without saying anything. Jeffrey's saying no for us that pretty smooth, no real burn. Yeah, it's good whiskey. It's good whiskey. That's the danger. Adrian's doing a community update of saying the Distilleries Edition number 8 Loch Lomond is free delivery in case anyone's on the fence. Well, in that case, it makes it pretty much free in general, doesn't it? I've already got 2 of them. Of course you do, mate. Of course you do. Really interesting notes on this. It is. The citrus floral note is actually bang on. It's almost like Zaflora, like that cleaner stuff that you get. Not artificial smelling or anything like that, but it's just, it's the two, it's like a very yellowy, like lemony citrus. Then getting hit with almost like, I don't know, wild flowers. A field of wild flowers. Definitely invokes like a summer's day. I'm just casual saying average rainfall, hours of sunlight and temperature on the bottle. Love when distilleries chuck something for the nerds on the bottle. Yeah, no, I like, because it's about the barley, isn't it? It's talking about like, it's their local barley. So it is quite good that they do that, and it's because they do it's not batch variations, but they do variations of the bottle each year. So if you're really into that, you can dig in deeper and go, right, this year this was this and this was that, and how's that affected the local barley and what's it doing. %, drinks really well. Quite drying on the end of the palate. Yeah, it's quite dry. You still get that. Weirdly, the front was quite loaded because I'd had that Jack Daniels and whatever. So I'm kind of never got as much on the front, but the back end palate, the ending of it, the finish, that floral pushes through. It's a drying floral note as a finish. Bear in mind, this is a fresh pour. This is a fresh neck pour. So with all of these bottles, like, you know the script, they'll get better over time. Bit of air in them, let them open up and breathe. Lovely mouthfeel, thickness to it. Yeah, that's the ex-bourbon casks as well, doesn't it? Yeah. You get that bourbon cask influence, which I love, the fruitiness. But whatever wine, I don't know what wine they've put this in, but the wine cask is definitely pushing that floral note very hard. Almost like a not lavender, but like a Parma violet type Yeah, it's definitely wild flowers. Very strange. Enjoyable, but if this opens up over time and becomes super floral, though, I'm going to be in trouble because I'm not hugely into my floral whiskies. But if the bourbon cask, which is there, that influence comes through a little bit harder and a little bit stronger, then it's banging. Yeah, I'm just getting a lot of floral on it at the moment. Alan's asking how I get on with wine finish. It depends, mate, to be honest. I find it can be so varied. So when I first got into whiskey, I remember going to a couple of the Whiskey Live type shows that they used to do at the Oval Cricket Ground in London. And I had a Macmira that was like a champagne cask, Macmira. And I loved it. Me and my mate were like, this is unbelievable. And that was like our first foray into whiskey. And then we had the Madeira cask at Pendrin. You're like, oh, whereas now I wouldn't really go for any of them. But it's a fresh young palate. Unbelievable. Then when I started getting into more and more, I find wine cask can be it's such a temperamental line where it tips really quick and it becomes super tannic and drying and cloying, and I don't like that on my palate. But when they get it right, it adds so much flavour. It obviously adds colour, but the colour doesn't really matter. The flavour and the right notes and what you have. I think the way Loch Lomond have done it, not with the casks, but with the yeast, it was the Chardonnay yeast and stuff, and all these excuse me, experiments that people are doing that way, I've really enjoyed. Obviously I had the Merkin out with Le Paul Noir, and the variation year on year from those ones was quite pronounced, I thought. And the first year they did it, I loved it. The second year, it was still good, but palate wise, I preferred the first year. And I think that's why it's quite a tricky line to do. I think the Lecheg Sinclair, the Rioja, brilliant. I think that's a great thing. But again, it's very pointed. It's like it's a Rioja barrel. They're just, I've tried other ones, and it's the same as any type of cask, really. I feel like I'm rambling a wee bit here, but when you get the port cask, or you get like people are really into mezcal, like other market have done the mezcal as well, or you get the Deanston did the tequila one. Sometimes I wonder is like when it's finished in them, and it's so cask heavy influenced, I wonder if the liquid was ever good enough in the first place and it'll just be absorbed by it. I had that Mortlach, the Samurai one, that I think was finished in two different cask finishes. One of them was in the I can't remember what Japanese distillery it was, but it was a Japanese distillery, and then it was finished in Pinot Noir as well. And it just it wasn't for me at all. So the long way round, Alan, alright, but they're no high up on my agenda. If I had to rank cask types, probably, it all depends on spirit and that, but broadly, bourbon's up there. A good PX, like a proper PX cask finish, brilliant. Then it's sherry. I would put wine casks below that, and I would be all encompassing with that. So I would count port, I'd count Madeira, I'd count all those. And then, because sherry's technically wine, isn't it, well? But then at the bottom, beer. Beer barrel finished whiskey to me. I just a lot, 99% of the time, it just tastes like beer. I just get like mash, so I just don't really enjoy it. I'll say, I just asked because I feel like tasting I've been too wine finished, matured, always gets murmurs and often splits the room. Yeah, and I think that is because of that. Again, I'm not in the room. I don't know exactly. I think it's the tannins. I think it's the cask. It can overpower the whiskey. I mean, and just have a cloying to it. Excuse me. Managed to drag that beer out like an hour and a half. Sacrilege. A little bit more time in the glass now. I'm still getting that underlying floral note, like quite heavy on that. Bear in mind, my palate at the moment is definitely, I'll even use the term ropey. I think I've got a wee couple of cuts or something in my mouth because it's quite stingy. So I'm not judging it at all tonight. It's just very nice to be able to crack open something that I've not had. I've definitely not had that one before. Well, 8 years, 2014, 22, so 23. I may have had it actually at that tasting. Not that I remember, but definitely want to come back to. It's quite handy. It gives me another bottle for me or no for me, and I can be very straight down the line with it. Craig's on an old Forester old fashioned, not bad. Tonight's when I was Woodford double oaked old fashioned, very sociable drink. Woodford's great for an old fashioned. Do you not think, Craig? I think for me, I was looking at I was trying to think of if you're a newbie to whiskey, because I'm working on a video that's about trying to bring people into whiskey that want to come in, demystifying it and try to make it less pretentious and try to make it less make it more approachable. And so I was like, right, if you're buying 5 whiskies, for example, and you want to start building out your bar collection or building out your own, if people come round and they want something, you want to make sure you have something that covers everybody's palate, an Irish, a peated, an unpeated, a sherried, etc. And it came at the bourbon, and I thought long and hard about it. I normally always say 4 Roses, single barrel, because it's great. It's great for me. I'm trying to remove myself from the equation and think, if I'm new to whiskey, what was on? And I still have them, and they're great, is Woodford Reserve. It was either going to be Woodford Reserve or Wild Turkey 101, and I think I'm leaning more towards the 101 because I think, I don't know, the proof of it just makes it a little bit more punchier. But as a beginner, the just Woodford stuff's great, and a Woodford old fashioned is outstanding. So the double oaked, I can see that just being absolutely great. And there's Alan saying Woodford double oaked on my watch list. We had one at Barrel Top tasting a couple of years ago, and it was so enjoyable. The sweetness was ramped up a little bit though in it, which surprised me. That made it more. I'm trying to remember this right. The cherry note, it was so like cherry cola. But I get that in Woodford normally, but it just so intense, but so enjoyable. And I think they're one of those distilleries that just kind of plods along a wee bit. And there's quite a lot of those, and I think that could be a topic for one of these live streams again. It plods along a little bit because it's just all dependable. People don't hype it up too much. There's always something a little bit different. But it's, yeah, Alan saying I heard there's a sweetness to it. There is definitely a sweetness to it, and it's really enjoyable. And I think that's why it's in an old fashioned as well. It works so well. And the notes, but I've managed to I picked up was a pricing error on Amazon ages ago, and I ended up picking up like 9 bottles of Woodford Reserve for like 85 quid or something like that. And I had to laugh. I was over because it was Easter Sunday last week, went over to my brother's to see my niece and him and his wife, and I looked on the shelf and he had a bottle of Woodford Reserve, and then behind it, the bottle of Woodford Reserve that I gifted them. I'm pretty sure I gifted them, both of them. One of them unopened. It's just a great whiskey. It's a fantastic whiskey. So I can see why that would have won out. I don't have a sweet tooth with food, but I do with whiskey. Yeah, like, I think it's funny, isn't it? The palate, like, I have a huge sweet tooth to my detriment. I get it from my dad, especially with chocolate. Just fire through it. Whereas with whiskey, I can find some whiskies too sweet, and like anything, a lot of rum cask finished whiskey. Even rum, I try and do like high proof rum 4 squares and stuff. Just too sweet for me. So it's funny, isn't it, how the palate works that way? And Craig's saying, yeah, nice on its own or in an old fashioned. I'm going to be honest about the Isle of Barley right now. It's no tickling my palate the way I need it to on a Saturday night. Granted, my mouth feels a wee bit funny, so I'm going to make an executive decision and just move on to something else, and definitely revisit that. I know it'll be good. I know it's good. It's just not working for me, and I think there's no shame in that. I'm being honest. Hold my hands up. And I'm going to go for an absolute rocket that's going to destroy anything left in my mouth. There we go. Let's try it. There we go. The 1920 Prohibition style. And just having a wee read of it and see if there was anything. If there's anything on it that tells you why that's the case. You can see how I pop. That's how you pop. None of this bloody. Right. It's a great whiskey. Now on these live streams, we've got a smaller crowd than usual as expected. Based on what's been happening last week. Great feedback from everybody watching the streams, enjoying them. I pick up a lot of views during the week as well of people watching on catch up, which I really appreciate as well. As I'm trying to shape it and make it more coherent and more kind of, not formulaic, but just so there's a bit of structure to it. I'm not going to be able to do them every single week. I've kind of made a rod for my own back doing this on a Saturday night. Especially with summer coming, so it's going to become a bit more sporadic. I'm thinking maybe moving to once every 2 weeks or maybe once every 3 weeks on a Saturday. I really enjoy doing them, but it's a big commitment out of life, as you can imagine, on a Saturday night, working 5 days and then doing this on a Saturday night, and I just want to be upfront and honest. So I'd love to know your feedback on it. Like, what would you think? I think every 2 weeks, I think gives me scope and for new stuff to come up and to structure it a bit, and maybe do it like have a theme, because it'll be twice a month, so to speak. Have a theme, and then maybe have the following week a guest or make it a bit more open. I'm still exploring. I really want to do like a way and bring you guys into it, if you want, to almost dial in or what dram you're having, but literally have you come in. Hey, how you doing? This is the dram I'm having. And then I was like, oh, I need to do a delay on it, because what if they shout abuse and all this kind of stuff, like. But I'd do it in such a way that I would have to send you the link via DM or something like that. I'd make sure that it wouldn't be an open forum for people to just come on and hijack it. So we're looking at, I'm looking at that. As I mentioned earlier, Marcos is going to come on. He's going to pop in and we'll have a wee chat with him. And it's going to be, as I said about Drams podcast, that's going to always be in person. And that's why it's just been difficult to have the time with people to do it in person. But jumping online for this and having a wee chat and engaging with more people, I think will be good fun on a Saturday night. Again, availability for people. It's going to be difficult. We're going to do that. And it just makes it worth your time tuning in as well, because if I'm coming on here and you're choosing to spend time watching me, and if I don't feel I'm bringing enough to the table for it, then I feel like I'm wasting your time. So I want to make sure these are structured, these are in place, hence the news segment, hence kind of rebrand of the stream and try to, like, not say make it professional, but I think you understand what I mean. Just try and make it more focused. %57.5%. Absolutely no wonder prohibition times were us swinging for chandeliers. That's delicious. It's so good. But going back to that, that's what we're going to do. So I'm just giving you forewarning that as much as I love doing these every weekend and try to get that rhythm, there will just be life gets in the way Saturday nights. So again, I'm going to use the word implore. Like, summertime's coming. Some people take the whole of summer off because basically, I know this from conversations with people, it doesn't really happen to me because I don't get massive views, but they see a big dip in whiskey numbers in the summer. I'm like, well, yeah, and you don't make any content, that's fine, but if you're not making the content, you're not going to get the views anyway. So it's a bit of chicken and egg, but it's more just so that I can spend time with my family on a Saturday night as well and not have to worry too much about constantly getting down here. So we'll work it out. We'll get a good cadence going. I'm just thinking to next weekend and the weekend after. Definitely next weekend will be a stream. And then the weekend after, there won't be, as I mentioned, with the birthday happening. And then we can get into that nice cadence. I've also thought about doing a couple of these out of the Black Lodge. It's really crossed my mind, and I think it's feasible. The quality is not going to be anywhere near the same, because if I'm out and doing it and in a live environment, it's going to be tricky. But I just think, how much fun would it be to do one of these live from a bar in Glasgow, like set up a corner and just stream live from a whiskey bar. And I think I've looked at it, and timing wise, I wouldn't do 9:45 to midnight. I'd probably do like 8 till 10, like a special on site, and just have guests come in and just like a bit of a house party vibe to it, like being in the bar doing it. Looking forward to some drams on the run, mate. Don't you worry, there's one coming that's the mega. It's the mega drams on the run. It's the Q1 drams on the run. I'm working on it now. I've got far too much footage. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a long video. It's not going to be 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's going to be quite punchy, I think. But I think I might just be a bit brutal and cut a lot of the fat. Not as much fat, but just maybe try and make it jump about. Drams on the run is... I love making drams on the run, but the problem is I just think some situations, like I found it at Croydon Whiskey Festival and that, it'd be really useful to have even just a mate, because I went myself last minute to help with the camera. As simple as that, because I'm a one-man operation, doing it all and trying to do it, but I'm trying to enjoy it and move about. But we've got more coming. I've got a list. I'm just thinking of the list of the videos coming up. Aside from the Q1 one, I'm looking at Drams on the Run Glasgow special. That's not going to just be the whiskey bars, because really we know the Bon Accord's good. We know the Pot Still's good. But as a destination, the majority of us that will go to Glasgow or visit Glasgow or live in, you do more than just go to a whiskey bar. So I'm like, well, let's broaden it out and make it almost like a pub crawl. But I've seen a few videos. I don't know if you've seen them on YouTube. I go to Glasgow, like English guy goes to roughest bars in Glasgow, and he's going into just pubs in the town on like a Friday morning. There's nothing happening. But it just that I want to move that perception away from that, oh, these pubs are really dangerous and bad. Most people, I presume, know the Lauriston, for example. Great pub, great whiskey. Oh God, where does this came up? And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, but in East End, if you're coming in from the east, like where would you start pubbing? Or if you're coming in for the south side, where would you go? And whatever. And I think having a perspective of, right, okay, I'm from Glasgow, I know people in Glasgow, I can ask their opinions, but also I can look at it from a new because a lot of these pubs I've not been in for years or I've never been in. I can bring that to the table. So that's going to be a wee vibe shift. Drams on the Run special, just to bring something a bit fresher to it. Then I looked when we were up again. I'm going to fling this in. Manchester, I did a tiny mini pub crawl of like 3 bars. One had a great whiskey selection. The one I was promised the whiskey selection, there was fucking barely anything. So Manchester's no getting a Drams on the Run, I don't think, because I just don't think there's enough places to drink whiskey in Manchester. Any suggestions? I'm open for destinations. I've looked at some far-flung ones. As I mentioned before, I was meant to be going to America. Well, I was hoping to go to America and do one this year, but with the current, I need a visa. No, it's no worth it. So I'm open to suggestions for the next ones. But plus, Drams on the Run in general, whiskey shows coming up, all that kind of stuff, we'll be getting them in. Absolutely. Next week, I'll be filming one when I'm at Buffalo Trace in London. That'll be a Drams on the Run. We'll get that up as well. I think we're going to have a wee bit of an earlier finish tonight, guys, purely because my mouth is quite sore. I've been trying these whiskies. I overdid it yesterday with those leaving drinks. So we'll call it a 11:45 finish of the night. And I say normally we finish at 12, and then I look and I finish at 12:30. So we'll see how it goes. So any questions, anything in the chat, anything you guys want to ask, talk about, whatever, please, now's your time. Pile in, let me know. It's always funny when I say that, because there's a delay between me talking, it being broadcast, you seeing it, and then you typing. And so a lot of the time I'm kind of like talking away, and you might see like the chat will go, and then it'll be really quiet on my end, as if I'm ignoring all the chat, but it's just the way this whole system works. The Black Lodge, the way if you watched Monday's video, the Black Lodge rambling, and you would have seen the layout, and I thought that would be quite funny. Well, not funny, but I like to see behind the scenes stuff, and I always find it fascinating when you see the actual dimensions of places, especially on camera, where it can look really deep and really big, because like the depth on, I'm just looking at the background on this, the depth on that looks quite far. But I'm really thinking about refurbishing and changing this whole setup behind there. Just in general, because we've had this cabin now. Black Lodge has been here 5 years. Coming up 5 years. Aye, coming up 5 years. And he's repainted outside. And he's sorting. And then part of me is like, oh, maybe I just change it up. I'm not moving the bar. The bar will still be there, but maybe just new shelves and stuff. So any feedback on that, let me know. Craig saying next week I'm opening a 107. What you reckon I'm celebrating? Oh, Leeds. Is it Leeds? I'm trying to guess the yellow and blue. Is that right? Have I got that completely wrong? Craig, which yellow and blue? I don't know. Next week. Part of me was like, I saw yellow and blue and I thought Ukraine, but I was like, there's not been any, unless I've missed the news today, there's not been any announcements, has there, that have came from the Pope's funeral. I just checked, had a wee look there at the bourbon cabinet. I need it, and Craig, I might join you. If you're doing the 107 next week. No, I'm right. I was right, Leeds. Well, Craig, we're going to be on, it seems like my team and your team are going to be linked by ownership very, very soon. And if we get a bit more news about that, I'll definitely be opening some bottles. John, no need to apologise. Great to have you. You've not missed much, just me rambling, the usual shite. And discovering that my mouth's got some wee cuts in it and that from too many beers yesterday. What's in your glass? What you having? Let me see. Okay, turn those. I have this background music on, and in my headphones I can hear it quite clearly, but I never really watch back these streams for obvious reasons. Let me know, is that volume too loud or is that alright? Can you hear it? Or is there just nothing? I think that would be worse, that I can hear this music the whole time. Because I know that if I bring old Tricky Dicky in, we can all hear him.
How are you? Hello there.
He must be, honestly, he must genuinely be a cracking guy, because you watch those videos, right, when he's talking to them, he's flinging the whiskey about, and he's talking to some women, and he's on the cusp of just being cancelled or whatever, but he's never been. So I'm kind of, you know.
But if I ever see you nosing it like this, I'll kill you.
Maybe that's it. Maybe off camera he's like, you ever see it and I'll kill you. No, I'm sure he's a wonderful fellow. I just love having those. I love having those things. I've got a button here that says Western. Jesus Christ. There we go. Much better. No, you're right. Background spot on. Mate, like, phenomenal achievement. Leeds going up. And then I saw today we had... What other football? So, Palace beat Villa. Delighted for Palace fans. Palace aren't far from where I am in South East London. Great team. Players are great on that team. So, Wrexham went up. Don't know how you feel about Wrexham, Craig. They just signed some players that just... Anyway, but they've went up 3 back-to-back promotions. It's unbelievable. Alan's saying, give it time. I'm expected to get cancelled soon. I found more buttons. that I really should use more often. Like, come on, great stuff. What else have we got? John's on the Aaron 13-year-old port pipe matured. Lovely. We were talking about wine casks, John, before you joined. Port's a funny one as well, because obviously port is so varied, and what you have is sherry in that respect. Sometimes I expect the port cask to be like super fruity and whatever, and I just find that a bit dull. And I don't know if it's the cask that they're using, whatever. I had the Wireworks port, and I found that the Wireworks port, I was expecting this big fruity number, and I never got it. I never got what I was expecting. It was lovely. It was still lovely. It's still Wireworks. The stuff they make is great, but it just wasn't at the level I expected the port cask to be. So I'd love to know that Aaron 13, what are you getting out of that? Is it really like bringing stuff to the forefront or not? I'm currently on the, here we'll try this again, it probably won't work. Currently on the Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style. So I've went for sweetness, but I've went for sweetness through bourbon as opposed to through cask. Correction, Norwood. Which is technically, Norwood is technically where the Croydon Whisky Festival is. It's not technically, it is. And yet it's called not Croydon. I'm thinking to myself here, do I pull one more dram, or am I happy to finish with that, which I've just done there? Maybe one more, and I think I know what I'm going to go for. I'm going to stay in the bourbon territory. I'm going to stay bourbon. I go for that Dickel single barrel, or do I go way back? Do I go the other way and I just go and get a Glenmorangie 12? Right, we're going to do one more. Dickel. Excuse me, guys. Apologies. Oh. There we go. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Dickel, single barrel, 15 years old. 184 bottle. Now, I'm not quite sure what that means. I say this every time on this stream. I find it fascinating that Diageo haven't brought Dickel to the UK. Their branding at the moment is went heavily Western, like heavily Western, in terms of like trying to ride on the kind of modern country that's happening everywhere. The UK is mad for that. Alan, really good point. See this mineral thing that Bruzel talks about? I find Bruzel funny, right? Because Bruzel inspired me to go to Kentucky and stuff like that. I tell you, he talks a load of shite, to be fair. And if you watch his videos and you start to pick up on it, I think because everybody holds him such high elevation, but the good pop, and there's Craig asking the same mineralic, so it does, but it's what I was saying with the Jack Daniels. It's a Tennessee thing. It's a water source. So you know how in basically in Scotland terms, lowland and highland. You have the fault line, and it's to do with the rock. It's literally to do with the tectonic plates, and the rocks underneath are softer in the lowlands and they're harder in the highlands. With this, what you get is what I found, this is my opinion, in Bruisers and Tilted Heads. I understand what he's saying. It's almost, I wouldn't even say mineralic, but having never done this, but yet somehow I can picture it. Imagine going to like a stream in the Highlands, wherever, anywhere, putting your hand in and pulling out tiny pebbles, and putting the pebbles in a glass of whiskey, and then drinking the whiskey, where there's like a, you can almost imagine it. I think it's almost it's not metallic, but there's just something a wee bit going on in your palate. I know exactly the note. If I had to draw it, I'd kind of draw it sharp. It's just this. It's weird. It's a weird thing to do, and it's hard unless you've tried it. Now, this is Dickel 15 single barrel, so this is going to be better than your 8, or like the same way Jack Daniel's 7, number 7's crap compared to 10 or single or whatever. But on the nose, you get malty. It's quite malty. It's quite chocolatey. As opposed to, we were talking about Woodford being very kind of cherry forward and pushing that note. I get a much more rounded, almost like rounded, a brownness, if that makes sense, like a barrel. Like, and then you just have this sharp, but not sharp in like a sharp way. It just, and you can feel it front of the mouth. Imagine like if you've got fillings and you eat tin foil, right? And that's the worst thing in the world. And that, oh my God, that visceral reaction to it. But imagine that turned down to like 2%. So if you do it, it's 100%. There's just this. And so I think that's the minerality that he talks about. I think is that hit, that kind of point. And then on the flip side, have you noticed in recent videos he's been talking about the older Dickel and all of a sudden he's raving about Dickel. He's raving about Dickel. It's quite funny, the shift, and that can happen with your palates or whatever. But I think he built a rod for his own back, calling it minerality in it, as if it was like a negative. I think it's just such a Tennessee whiskey plus what's happening there creates it. You find it in Jack Daniel's number 7, but you find it more in like the 10 and the 12 as well. Well, definitely the 10, but the 12. That just Tennessee whiskey is different from bourbon, and I'm sure it's a water. But it's good. It's really good, to the point where I asked my friend, one of my best friends that came over, to bring this over for me. He was like, "What whiskey do you want me to bring?" And I was like, "That." And he tried it for the first time. We had it in a place called, in London, if you're a foodie, or even not a foodie but just like good food, it's a place called Tyab's, and it's famous for its lamb chops, but it's BYOB. And we took this, and it was he loved it, and so he got a bottle of it. He asked for a bottle at Christmas and got a bottle of it as well. I've managed to convert him into a whiskey drinker, which is fantastic. Yes, Alan, there absolutely is, and one of them's live right now. This keeps happening. Stuff keeps disappearing. Almost like a baking soda. Kinda. It's I could pick it out in a blind. I would absolutely be able to pick out a Tennessee whiskey in a blind from that note. That I think even if Bruzo hadn't said that, I would have found as well that there's just something different. On the nose, It is. It's richer. It's definitely like a chocolate malt vibe. It's the only way I can describe it, like a chocolate malt. And then it's all front, and it lifts. All plays at the front of the palate. And the back end, you get that chocolate note again, that maltiness. Now, bear in mind, this has been opened probably like 8 months, 9 months. I don't know the exact date. A lot of air in it. It's aged like how a whiskey will, and it's only, proof wise, it's only 48.1, so it's not coming in at like mad cast strength either. And it's at least 15, so it's older. So I do want to pick up the Dickel 8 with the gold label, and then there's another Dickel. They're on my list for the mules, i.e. my mates that go back and forward for work to America, to get me, so I can differentiate them. But what I will do, guys, is I've still got enough of this left. Oh, turn this down a wee bit. Sounds quite loud. I'm more than happy to get samples out to people. There is someone waiting on a sample from me. That's happening this week, without a doubt. I said it the other week. I said it. Just a lot been going on. But I'm happy to get some of these out to you as well, so you can try it. I've just seen Craig's comment. Just waiting for it to come in. There we go. Craig's going to be in London shortly. The Devonshire on my hit list. Heading as on wines on my hit list. Craig, ping me, DM me on Instagram. Let me know your dates and stuff. I've got resources I can share with you that will help you massively. Hedonism for bourbon, yes, but also a wee bit no. The pricing's a bit all over the place, and it can be a bit. It's no ideal. I'm being polite, but you'll get the odd thing. Like I picked up the 107 and stuff there at a decent price, but then other stuff is just overpriced. It's a wee bit hard. Devonshire, yep, absolutely, you need to go. The problem is the hype is so big on it. Depending on when you go, you're left stood like that in the pub with a pint, or you're stood outside in a tiny narrow space because it's cordoned off. Try to drink the pint as well. So definitely DM me, let me know when you'll be there, and I'll sort you out. Guys, I'm going to call it a day. See, 10-2. Already 5 minutes over when I said I was going to finish on that wee Dickel rant. Appreciate you for joining this evening. Hopefully, I'm a little bit tired, so the energy's probably not been the same as the usual vibes. But as always, really appreciate you watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. There's more videos coming. I said in the Black Lodge Rambling there'd be videos this week, but then stuff happened. Life happens. More videos are coming. We have I need to video it, but I'm really looking forward to it. We have the Rare Find whiskies to go through. So Rare Find reached out to me on Instagram and were like, look, can we send you this? And like, I've got on my website, I've got a big ethics statement and all that, and I think it puts a lot of brands off, if I'm honest, or a lot of people off. But it's not there. It's just there because I value being authentic with everybody that I talk to, and it just covers my back, because there's other people out there that just aren't they, and it really winds me up. So I made a statement of it, and I've probably done myself over. But the Rare Find guys reached out. They were fine with it. I like Rare Find. I had it at the London Whisky Show, an amazing Lagavulin, Secret Isle. They had brilliant. Their stuff's good. They've sent me a tasting pack. I'm going to do a for me or no for me on it, real time, like, you know, my thoughts. But Glengarry, Dalhousie, Glenord, and a Secret Lowland. Like, I'm already kind of anticipating that they're going to be decent. But they're in weird finishes, and some of them are wine. So this is actually quite pertinent. Maybe I'm foreshadowing that I'm going to hate them all. So we've got that coming up. We've got the Drams on the Run. Once I get that locked in, get that up. We've got other stuff coming. I really appreciate the support. Everything's great. You guys are great. Have a lovely rest of the weekend, and I will see you next week. Next week will be a fun one. Cheers, guys. Button.